That's Islam, essentially. So I'm going to say what Islam is in a nutshell. According to Islamic doctrine, the goal is to ensure that there is an Islamic state throughout the entire world called the Caliphate, with Sharia or Islamic law imposed across the land. That's it. That's Islam. Okay. Now, in this framing, it's not more complicated than that. And I want you to understand, people that call themselves Muslims but don't believe this, they're not Muslims. They're not Muslims. So don't call yourselves Muslim. And even the Muslim scholars say that themselves. I'm not making this shit up. I am not making this shit up. If you don't follow Sharia law, which is the most demonic law ever created by man, well, it's not created by man, but it's enforced by man, you're not a Muslim. So their motto is, God is our objective, the Quran is our constitution, the Prophet is our leader, jihad is our way. If you don't know what jihad is, you should know. And death for the sake of God is the highest of our aspirations. This is a creed from the Muslim Brotherhood. Okay? Now, it is presented as the last and final revelation to humanity from so-called God. All Muslims call me Allah, right? Like they call their God, so-called Allah. Others call it Satan. I call it demonic forces because that's what they are. It's not just one, it's a group of demonic forces that they call Allah, they call their God, and people who can see what Islam is call it Satan because it is a pure demonic evil force. So now Islam is a cult of coercive ideological indoctrination using ritualized violence and dehumanization. It is very easy to find many videos online since this evil doesn't hide anymore. Like I said, it's in our face now. Of Muslims' parents, for example, filming their children holding knives and beheading a doll. This is something I've known since I was a kid because I grew up next to these people. And chanting some sort of evil threat. This is the nature of chaos magic also. I would say less chaos magic, more baneful magic. It is ritualized dehumanization plus cultic coercion, which is psychic warfare through sacralized violence. This is not magic that elevates consciousness. Again, this is magic that collapses it. Across ancient wisdom systems, evil is not defined by violence alone. It is defined by 4 violations. So let's talk about the violations of that evil magic has. Number 1 is violation of innocence. Number 2 is dehumanization of the other. Number 3 is ritualization of violence. Number 4 is elimination of personal responsibility. Okay, so if we look at violation of innocence, children are not initiated, they cannot consent. So any system that deliberately conditions children into hatred and violence is considered profoundly corrupt. We know this, but we don't do anything about it. And in esoteric terms, it destroys the soul of the child, of the human, even before it is formed. That's why it's black magic. Number 2, dehumanization of the other. Teaching children that entire groups of people are subhuman, enemies, or worthy of destruction is a core marker of moral collapse. In magical language, the spell is not on the victim, it is on the child. The child is trained to shut down empathy, which fractures the psyche. So you see, like, all of these millions of people are walking around with like a fractured psyche and consciousness, and their shadows are basically have taken over at that point. They're basically walking demons. So number 3 is the ritualization of violence. So when violence is repeated, filmed, chanted, celebrated, and shared communally, that becomes a ritual conditioning, not like spontaneous brutality, right? This is a forced order through terror. It is purely evil. We've seen that in Nazis as well, and now we see it in the same way, but in different forms. It is a systematic. It's systematic. It's not just like this one act of violence or hatred. It's systematic. So elimination of personal responsibility, that was number 4. So children are taught God commands this, right? Or, and if you don't do what God says, you're going to be punished, obviously. You are the righteous one to do that, to kill and to rape and all that. Questioning is betrayal, and if you question anything, you will also die. This removes conscious in every wisdom tradition. It's removing conscious is the definition of spiritual evil, because when you remove the free will of a person, this is purely evil. This is like one of the bases of evil. So Islam is a closed loop system of fear, obedience, and identity erasure. And it is a cult and a political movement using religion as a weapon and a disguise. So we see a system of early childhood trauma, grooming, identity foreclosure, moral disengagement, and group-based hatred conditioning. All right, this is black magic. I'm not going to fluff it up to be more digestible here on social media. This is black magic. And it has lots of money and power right now in the world. It always has, but now it has more, and it's in our faces. Islam itself is not magic in the sense that it bends reality. Let's make this a little more clear. It is a system that breaks human and calls the broken state holy. That is why it is universally commended by the ethics of other spiritual paths, especially the Jewish faith, because Jewish faith celebrates and cherishes life at its core. That's literally all the Jewish faith is about, while Islam literally worships death. It violates life. It violates innocence. It violates sacredness. It violates consciousness. It violates free will, and it violates truth. Because also in the Quran, it states that they are allowed, and they should actually lie in order to protect their agenda or protect other Muslim, mercenaries or whatever. So although I'm saying that this system worships evil demonic forces at its core subconsciously, I want to be clear that this is a human choice. I don't want to mystify this brutality in evil or make it seem powerful, inevitable, or turn human responsibility into this myth. No, these people choose this. And there is no mystery here. This is abuse made systematic, and it has to stop. And we are the only ones who can stop it. And we need to use our voices. And if you haven't noticed in Iran, the people who are leading this revolution, and this is a real revolution, the people who are leading this revolution are women and girls. And we need the voices of women. That is why the voices of women have been demonized for generations, because the voice of a woman has power. So abuse doesn't become sacred because it wears religious language or costumes. Abuse is abuse, and dark is dark, and evil is evil. And let's call it what the fuck it is. So let's talk about a few aspects of a demonic black magic. And the first one, the very basic one, the reason that the fall of humanity came to even be in the first place, and I write about it in my book, The Last Priestess, is child sacrifice. So offering your children as babies to your demon so-called God, in this case of Islam, this God is called Allah, but really these are a group of demonic entities that have been serving since the beginning of the creation of this cult. This is known to people who have lived with radical Islam, like myself, and it is a mentality that holds people to having children for the sake of offering them as martyrs, for the sake of, again, Allah, their demon god. And it is a demonic and black magic in nature. It is so basic and simple. I don't even think I have to explain it more. I hope so. And I hope that people can understand that and see it, because I think this is obvious. Number two, the second pillar of any demonic entity, it is women. And I've been talking about this for years. Any demonic entity, any dark force would want to use two things in particular: women and children, because women are the portals of life. Women are the most powerful source in the universe for life force. They have the womb, and children they hold the pure essence of life itself. They have, I don't even know what word to use for these, shadow forces. Children are the main source of food and sustainability. And women, they use and harness women's energy in order to create, because the shadow, the dark, cannot create on its own. They need from the light. And so they have to take from a woman, from the feminine, because the feminine is the creator of life. So women are only vessels to be used. And again, I'll post some videos down there. You can explore, you can research more if you want to. Islamic terrorists, Islamic demonic people believe that if you die for your God, Allah, your demon, you do not go to heaven. You do go to heaven, but you receive 72 virgins. So that's your heaven. So if you've been raised as a child to be a martyr, like your parents kind of offering you to this God, so-called God, and when you die for the cause or whatever it is, you will go to heaven and you will receive 72 virgins. That's your gift. That's your what's the word in English? Your payment, right? You're gonna get 72 virgins. However, they believe if you are killed by a woman, by the way, especially a Jewish woman, you do not receive that reward, because it's really something really sad to say, but it's reality. And I'm not the first one to say this. I actually I'm going to post another video. I just saw it too. And by the way, I have a playlist on my YouTube channel. It's called Israel Truth, and you can kind of explore that and research for yourself as well. But Douglas Murray actually said this. He said, a man I honor very, very much. He said that Muslims don't care about other Muslims. The millions of Muslims killed in real genocides in Syria, in Yemen, no one gives a shit about them. The Muslims don't give a shit about each other. What they do care about is Jews. They have a pure obsession with Jews. And again, I explained why. It's because these are pure dark versus light forces. So there is a very famous story about Zainab al-Harith. She was from a Jewish tribe called Banu Nadir, and she basically so-called killed Muhammad the prophet with poison that she gave him. You can. I don't want to take too much time again from this video. This is a very long video, but it's true that eventually, when you look back, like the Prophet Muhammad, their sadistic, mentally ill cult leader, which they call prophet, actually was killed by a Jewish woman. And for the irony is that for their cult, to be killed by a woman, especially a Jewish woman, is a great dishonor. So, and they don't get the 72 virgin when they go to heaven if they get killed by a woman. So, all right, I know I'm very emotional speaking about this, guys, but yeah, this shit's real and it's insane, and I'm just trying to stay sane in all this madness. All right, the third pillar, systematic rape and pedophilia, which kind of sums up both of the pillars, because they always need to use women and children. And so you're going to always have rape and pedophilia, because using sex is one of the best ways, sex and torture and fear and pain, in order to open these portals for the demonic entities to come in. So this is the absolute demonic. And sexual abuse of women and children is the number one tool and weapon that's used by the dark demonic forces. And I have been speaking about this for years, since I opened this YouTube channel. And they believe that if you pray to Allah, the demon god, demons actually, he will still love you, no matter if you rape women and children. If you are a thief, a murderer, a rapist, it doesn't matter, as long as you do it for this, demonic force. Then we also go to bestiality and pedophilia. So again, I have a lot of videos in the past. I spoke about pedophilia and the dark forces. Many of them have been taken down by YouTube, of course. I'm going to try to upload this video as well to my Rumble, so just in case, because it might get taken down here too. Ayatollah Khomeini is known to be the father of the Islamic Revolution in Iran, and he wrote many books. He wrote about how it's okay to have sex with goats and chickens and camels. He also went into extensive documentation of how it's okay to have sex with kids, as long as you don't damage them as young as 1 day old. This is, again, extremely sick. This is a mental illness. Like Islam is a mental illness. The woke society is a mental illness. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. I'm not politically correct. I say it as it is. All right. So now let's talk about the Muslim Brotherhood. And again, I have so much to say here. I'm going to try to keep it short. The Muslim Brotherhood has an 100-year plan. We are almost 50 years into it. I want you to sit with that for a second. They have strategically embedded themselves in many Western institutions while also maintaining their stance on resisting all Western ideologies, including women's rights, especially women's rights, and protecting the rights of children as a basic example, because that goes against their ideology. Remember, women and children, that's the main food source of demonic energies. So France, England, Australia, Canada almost are all very close to total collapse. New York, you're next, unfortunately, with your mayor. Now, the Brotherhood uses the freedom and democracy laws of the specific country that they're invading first, and then when they become the majority, they destroy the democracy. That's been like that. It's been like that for hundreds of years. This is the Islamic colonization. So many countries have fell under Islam. There are 56 or 57 Muslim countries that have been colonized. No one is talking about this. And, one tiny Jewish state. So who's the colonizer? All right. So the Brotherhood is known for being connected to, funded by, and controlling Hamas, the Palestinian Authority, Islamic Jihad, Al-Qaeda, and of course their main sugar daddy, Qatar, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE, Jordan, and other countries have already officially designated the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist organization, and all countries need to do the same now, like right now. Most Western leaders sold out their people and money from the Brotherhood years ago and continue to do so now. We've seen the systematic infiltration of young able-bodied Muslim men entering Europe, and they've completely destroyed most places in Europe. There are so many cases of rape of young girls and women in Europe. It is madness, and the news is not going to tell you that. If you would know what is happening there, so much rape of girls and children, especially by Islamic men. So wake up, just wake up. Qatar, again, is giving more money to British and American universities than any country in the world. And look what happened since October 7. It has already been proven and known that they have funded Tucker Carlson, for example, and others who have been spreading their lies and propaganda, which is, again, it's a part of the plan to use citizens to destroy their own countries from within before the Brotherhood fully takes over and imposes Sharia law. If humanity doesn't wake up now, we are doomed. I am not going to sugarcoat this again. Like I said, Islamophobia does not exist. If you are afraid of an Islamic takeover, you are actually a very wise person. This is a force to fear, to rise up against, and to speak up against. I am not afraid of demonic forces. What I am afraid of seeing so many useful idiots in the world supporting demonic forces and helping them rise into power. It is a shit show, and I will not have that. And I don't care how crazy I sound to some of you. I will be the voice for my sisters. I will be the voice for children, and I will be the voice of sanity in this madness. This is the least I can do as a human woman in this time. So, all right. Now, again, repeating, real colonization, and I want you to look at the systematic thing. This is I'm not making a political statement here. I want you to see the systematic way that these dark forces work and have been working for a long, long time, for hundreds of years. Now, 57 Muslim states, 120 Christian countries, and 1 Jewish state. And who's blamed to be colonizer? The 1 Jewish state. Let that sit with you for 1 second. See how propaganda can be so powerful. And even the smartest people can fall to it. So, the biggest colonizers in history were Europeans and Arabs. But we were never taught about Islamic invasion and colonization because it has been hidden from our history books for a reason. It has been erased completely, and as if it never existed. Even though it is a huge part of Middle Eastern history. The largest slave trade was conducted by Islamic empires, and yet we were never taught that. Now, this is a quote by a quote that I found by Ellie Greenenwald. The idea that Islamic terrorism is just a product of Western imperialism or capitalism is not only a masochist. This blatantly ignores slavery, pillaging, raping, of course, and apartheid of Middle Eastern and North African indigenous ethnicities and religions. Long before any concept of Western imperialized, I call them, they can't think for themselves, they have been using all of these words against the actual victims of Islam, of the Islamic regime. So they call Israel doing genocide, ethnic cleansing, slavery, blah, blah, while in fact, it's the other side. And so this is another form of inversion magic. This is what every time you see inversion magic, inversion of reality, inversion of truth, these are demonic forces at play. So again, just one thing, super important. Those who have the eyes to see can see it very clearly. Islam is not a religion. It is a militaristic political system masquerading as a religion, a death, evil cult. The religious story is a fraud, and it is a cult that glorifies death, not life, and also glorifies the destruction of everything that is sacred within humanity, especially women and children. Muhammad, their so-called prophet, the mentally ill, sadistic pedophile, created a religion so he can get power and followers. He took most of his ideas from Jewish tradition. Not a surprise. We even see today that Islam actually took and stole so many of its ideas from Judaism because it doesn't have anything on its own. Again, shadows cannot create anything of their own. They can only take something from outside and invert it and distort it. He used fear and terror to colonize so many places. In Islam, calling themselves a religion gives them the freedom to do whatever they want to do in any place, right? Because they can come and say, oh, this is part of my religion, you have to respect me. But really, they just rape another girl and like, oh, this is part of my religion. This is happening all over. It is madness. And I know some of you can't even believe me because it sounds so unrealistic, but it's true. It's happening in many places, especially in Europe these days. Islam demands to overthrow all governments, nations, and non-Sharia law. We cannot be nice anymore. We cannot be politically correct. You cannot be politically correct and have agreement with a demon. That's not possible. Islam teaches that all infidels are guilty of apostasy since all people are born Muslims. That's their belief. And those who are not are apostates, including children and infants. And the penalty is always going to be death. All right. So, oh my God, this is a very long video, guys. So Allah, their so-called God, prohibited his believing servants from becoming supporters of the disbelievers, or to take them as comrades with whom they develop friendships. In this case, such believers are allowed to show friendship to the disbelievers outwardly, but never inwardly. So they can be kind of like, it's actually a thing. I know I was raised with by these people, next to these people. So they are actually, it's part of their thing to be fake on the outside, to pretend they're your friend until the switch comes, until they can take over or do something bad to you. And this is from the Al-Bukhari. This is a quote from the Al-Bukhari. We smile at the face of some people, though our hearts curse them. Let that sit with you. Let me actually repeat that again. We smile at the face of some people, though our hearts curse them. This is the mentality if you do not understand the mentality of these people, you are in danger right now. So, okay, this is a lot of stuff to go over. I might do it, maybe I'll just do another video if you guys want me to. I can go deeper. This is a lot. But basically, I want to go over one more thing. So Islam has 3 stages to take over: peaceful, defensive, and attack. These are the 3 stages. And I urge you to go and learn about this and listen to people who actually know what they're talking about. I'm going to put some, not all of them, I'm going to put some videos down there so you can kind of listen and get a little glimpses of something. And you can also check out my playlist, Israel Truth, on my YouTube channel. The call for individual jihad. This is very important to understand, because what happened in Israel for 75 years with the Palestinians, of them just coming and doing jihad and raping and killing and murdering babies and children and everything. This is the plan to do it everywhere. Again, remember, they first come for the Jews, but then they come for everyone. Now, the Islam forbids to become friends with the unbelievers. Okay, so there's a lot of fakeness in this. There is a lot of danger. They're in so many levels: psychological, emotional, physical, for sure. And the Muslim Brotherhood believes these things: that Islam should govern all aspects of life, political, law, education, society; that Sharia law should ultimately replace secular legal systems all over the world; that Muslim societies should be Islamized gradually from the bottom up; that Western secularism, liberal democracy, and individual freedoms are ideological threats. So your freedom is a threat to Islam. Please, please hear me. Now, I want to, again, explain a little bit about Muhammad, because we have to understand that the core in every magic, if you understand magic, the seed moment, right? The core moment that magic started. If someone, for example, let's give a fun example. If you're just writing a spell or something, the energy that you were in that moment, that's the seed of the magic. And so that's what's going to count. The seed of the demonic cult that's Islam is Muhammad. Muhammad was, again, a sadistic pedophile, a warlord, and he married a girl named Aisha when she was 6 years old. But he was such a good man because he only consummated the marriage when she was 9. That makes him a good man. He was 54. So this is the seed that this entire satanic, demonic cult is based on pedophilia and on killing all of your enemies that don't follow what you follow and don't follow your demonic gods. Early Islamic texts describe sexual relations with female captives, concubines after battles. Again, this was legal under 7th century Arabian warfare norms. This is back in the days. This was like a warfare thing. You go and rape the women, and it's still happening today with Islam. Everywhere that you have a genocide by Islamic people, there is so much horrific rape happening to women and children. It's not even, I don't think most people can even contain that. It's too horrific. It's like a nightmare. So, all right. So when a woman is raped in Islam, she needs at least 4 witnesses to bring the men to punishment. Most women are accused in adultery and are killed. So if you're a woman and you were raped, if you don't have 4 men standing up to you and saying she was not raped, you will be killed. Let that sit for a second. I mean, you have to understand, Islam does not see women as humans at all. They see them as animals to be used by men. And these are not words that I'm making up. It's very sad that I even have to speak these words out loud right now to you. A Muslim man, by the law of God, must marry a woman, even a year-old baby. I'm just giving you a few laws of Islam according to, when it comes to women. Genital mutilation, increased sexual pleasure for the men, and cleanliness. Female orgasm is a sin because it's really pure power and a portal of life, which I always speak about. And demonic forces will always try to destroy the portal of life, which is the woman, which is the feminine. And it causes also pain for the woman. This is a pure black magic ritual. Sorry, it's really hard for me to do this video, guys. I'm exhausted. Women basically are to be used by a man as he wills. A woman has no protection at all. A son's inheritance should be twice the size of a daughter, and that's even in the good case. A woman's testimony is worth half of a man. Again, I can go on and on. Like, all of these things that I want to share with you, and I'm going to try to make it short. It's out there if you want to know the truth. Sex in Islam, again, super distorted. All religious sex is distorted in any religion. Islam is the worst. It is horrific. I can't even imagine the little girls that have to marry an older man, and I can't even imagine the hell. Everyday hell that they have to go through. Small, young, very, very young girls, age 9, 10, 11, that are pregnant with, a 50, 60-year-old man. But I want to give you, again, it's easy to find information about Islam. What I wanted to give you is another perspective, the more spiritual, energetic soul perspective, and to understand what forces we're dealing with. Because we have to know what forces we're dealing with. We have to know, as humanity, like I'm saying, for I don't know how much I have this YouTube channel for 16, 17 years. I keep repeating this. If we don't understand the laws of magic, it's always going to control us, because magic is controlling humanity right now. Very black, baneful magic. If we don't see that dark wizards are controlling the world, and I know that I sound like I come from a Harry Potter movie, I'm aware how I sound, and I am aware also that some people can see the truth and some people maybe will take a couple generations, but this is the truth. We see this everywhere. We see this with they wanting to normalize pedophilia for a few years, or the distortion of sexuality in our society in so many levels, in so many communities. This is demonic. It's not sacred. It's not human. It moves through humans that are very weak and susceptible. But this is demonic. So there's so much more I can speak about. Again, if you want me to do another video, I can. It's also really hard for me to do this video. There's so much information and I'm very emotional about it, as you can probably tell. And I am just feeling all of the fucking pain and suffering that women and children are feeling everywhere. And I've been feeling this my whole life. And it's just, then October 7 happened, and then now the war in Iran. And when will this end? And when are humans going to get up and speak for truth? How can we live in a society that half of it is literally supporting the purest evil possible and think that it's right? I love you so much, and I will keep praying as a servant of the Mother, as a priestess of the temple.